it is.
Hi, my name is Harold. I have abused drugs for 23 years of my life. I will be on Iron Dependency with Gat and Natasha this Sunday to tell my story. It's not normal. Don't miss it.
So join us this Sunday at a special start time, 4:15 p.m. to hear this story of survival and will to live. Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography, features another comeback story from an addict's diary. Don't miss it.
This is I-95.5. Welcome home.
To the marriage of the Lamb, to come and worship Him. Celebration, it's the joining of the bride and the Son, the two becoming one. All the prophecies fulfilled in a moment, so we see, like the roar of many waters, like the sound of rolling thunder. Hallelujah, give Him glory, for the marriage of the is coming. We're getting ready. We're getting ready. Filled with wonder as we behold the man with fire in his eyes, the very word of God. You are worthy, every kingdom, every nation bowing down. We crown you with many crowns, every creed and tribe and tongue, declaring in unity, like the roar of many waters, like the sound of rolling thunder. Hallelujah, give Him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb is coming. Hallelujah, give Him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb is coming. Oh, it's coming. Oh, we'll shout till the whole world hears. We'll sing till the whole world knows. King Jesus, He is faithful. He is the blessed hope. We'll shout till the whole world hears. We'll sing till the whole world knows. King Jesus, He is faithful. He is the blessed hope. We'll shout till the whole world hears. We'll sing till the whole world knows. King Jesus, He is faithful. He is the blessed hope. We'll shout till the whole world hears. We'll sing
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Go, sona. I come in. And don't give me no attitude there.
You have shit no manners, boy. I wish I had your touch, boy.
You have to groom them. First, you have to target them. Scope them out. See if they have low self-esteem. Family problems, you know? Then you move in and gain the trust.
I like your glasses.
After that, you feel a need. Some of them like nice things like fancy phones, hairdos, clothes, food. It have ones who only looking for somebody to care and listen to the problems. You feel me? What's important though, you have to isolate them from the people. Let them believe it's all about you
Forget
and them.
I care about you.
Then you get through.
Nice, nice.
Look one right there. Try thing now.
A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
He is faithful, King Jesus. He is faithful, King Jesus. He is faithful, King Jesus. He is faithful. We will see you. We will see. We'll see. Oh, we know what happens at the end. We know what happens at the end. We will see you. We'll see you. In all of your splendor. We know what happens. That we'll see you. In the beauty of holiness, we know what happens at the end. We know what happens. We will see you. We will see you. We will see you. Oh, we know what happens at the end. We will see you. We will see you. We will see you. This is the blessing. Oh, this is the blessing. Oh, this is the blessing. Oh.
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Go, sona. I come in and don't give me no attitude there.
You have Shiana manners, boy. I wish I had your touch, boy.
You have to groom them. First, you have to target them, scope them out, see if they have low self-esteem, family problems, you know. Then you move in and gain the trust.
I like your glasses.
After that, you feel a need. Some of them like nice things like fancy phones, hairdos, clothes, food. It have ones who only looking for somebody to care and listen to their problems. You feel me? What's important though, you have to isolate them from the people. Let them believe it's all about you
Forget
and them.
I care about you.
Then you get through.
Nice, nice.
Look one right here. Try thing now.
A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
To tell my story. It's not normal. Don't miss it.
So join us this Sunday at a special start time, 4:15 p.m. to hear this story of survival and will to live. Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography, features another comeback story from an addict's diary. Don't miss it.
You're listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha. Reality radio at its best.
Addiction is a psychological and physical inability to stop consuming a chemical, drug, activity, or substance, even though it causing psychological and physical harm. The term addiction does not only refer to dependence on substances such as heroin or cocaine, but a person who cannot stop taking a particular drug or chemical has a substance dependence. Some addictions also involve an inability to stop partaking in activities such as gambling, eating, or working. In these circumstances, a person has a behavioral addiction. Addiction is a chronic disease that can also result from taking medications. The overuse of prescribed opioid painkillers, for example, causes 115 million deaths around the world. When a person experiences addiction, they cannot control how they use a substance or partake in an activity, and they become dependent on it to cope with daily life. Every year, addiction to alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, and prescription opioids sees a world bill of $740 billion in treatment costs, lost work, and effects of crime. Most people start using a drug or first engage in an activity voluntarily. However, addiction can take over and reduce self-control. Drug addiction and drug misuse are different. Misuse refers to the incorrect, excessive, or non-therapeutic use of body and mind-altering substances. However, not everybody that misuses a substance has an addiction. Addiction is the long-term inability to moderate or cease intake. For example, a person who drinks alcohol heavily on a night out may experience both the euphoric and harmful effects of the substance. However, this does not qualify as an addiction until the person feels the need to consume this amount of alcohol regularly, alone, or at times of day when the alcohol will likely impair regular activities, such as in the morning time. A person who has not yet developed an addiction may be put off further use by harmful side effects of substance abuse. For example, vomiting or waking up with a hangover after drinking too much alcohol may deter some people from drinking that amount anytime soon. Someone with an addiction will continue to misuse the substance in spite of the harmful effects. There are symptoms, however, and the primary indications of addictions are uncontrollable seeking drugs, uncontrollably engaging in harmful levels of habit-forming behavior, neglecting or losing interest in activities or loved ones that do not involve the harmful substance or behavior, relationship difficulties, which often involve lashing out at people who identify the dependency, an inability to stop using a drug, though it may be causing health problems or personal problems, such as issues with employment or relationships. Hiding substances or behaviors otherwise exercising secrecy, for example, by refusing to explain injuries that occurred while under the influence. Profound changes in appearance, including a noticeable abandonment of hygiene. Increased risk-taking, both to access the substance or activity and while using it or engaging in it. When a person has an addiction and they stop taking the substance or engaging in the behavior, they may experience certain symptoms. These symptoms include anxiety, irritability, tremors and shaking, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, a loss of appetite. If a person has regularly used alcohol or other drugs and they stop suddenly or without medical supervision, withdrawal can be fatal. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Eye on Dependency. Good afternoon, Natasha.
Good afternoon, Garth, and welcome to our listeners on I-95.5 FM and live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page.
Well, this is our second Sunday at this time. We'll be back to normal come next Sunday, God's Spare Life. But today we continue with the awareness, and judging from the amount of calls we have gotten for the past week, last week, it just goes to show that there are a number of people out there suffering in silence and don't know where to turn. They've tried everything. And this evening, we're going to be speaking with an individual who I even penned a second verse in a calypso called My Brother's Keeper about. And I forget the one Jomoki, but Jomoki, I'm sure could find that at some point.
My brother's keeper.
Yes. I mentioned him in this particular calypso called My Brother's Keeper, and when after you speak with him, he'll tell you why. And we all too familiar with Harold, Natasha?
Yes, from long time, as they say. He has been following us and the work that we do, and he has been, through the ringer, as they say. He has a tremendous story to tell. We hope to share his story with you this afternoon. Did we say good evening?
No.
This afternoon, in the hope that somebody who needs to hear it will hear it. I think judging as well from the response to last week's program with Fred out in Florida, we hope that this mini series, you could call it, that we're doing, sharing the stories of addicts in recovery or recovered addicts, and maybe you could explain why we're using that term, will enlighten you as to how this disease comes about, how it develops, how it is enabled and nurtured, and importantly, how you can break free of it and live a life without substances.
And to the parents who I spoke with this last week, again, you will find out that you're not alone and your addict is in a zone, and you'll find out from Harold about us coming to our senses, what brought us to our senses, and just to let you know that it's not a quick fix. There's no miracle to this. Before we join Harold, we have him on the line already. Let me just explain, as I try to explain to someone. Picture yourself opening a door and walking into a dark room. And with your hands at your sides, King Kong picks you up and grips you there and closes the door. Picture yourself getting out of that. We know King Kong, how he bad. Well, I equate substance abuse to King Kong. That King Kong grip, as I would say. And it takes a very concerted effort and a will to live. The belief in oneself it's a combination of things that can make a person say, I've had enough, I want out, and I'm not going to go back to it. However, relapse is also a part of recovery. So I've been to 2 rehabs, I relapsed twice. And when I got to prison, that's when I woke up. And I said, enough is enough. That was 30 years ago. I never looked back. Because I know once I go that road again, I would end up dead this time. Because we talk about jails, institution, and death. In any order. So that hit your son could take this afternoon could be the final one. Or he can go on for a very long time till he gets arrested. And then there's the issue of mental ill health running in the family. All of these, a combination of things, and this is why we insisted on letting parents know you must have conversations with your children now. And let them know what their family and the family tree was like. So if you had a grandfather who was an alcoholic, tell your child that. Because you never know. Because some of the people we spoke with as well, when you ask the question, was there any alcoholic in the family on the mother or father side? And all of them said yes. So it can be inherited.
But don't tell them in a way that disparages the individual.
Right.
You're giving them that information so that they will be aware of what is running through their DNA.
Correct. So anyone you know should be listening to this program this evening, please let them know that we're going to speak with a gentleman who was where your son or daughter is right now, or where your husband or wife is right now. It's all about hope and strength. So we have on the line, good afternoon, Harold.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Natasha. And I want to say a special good afternoon to the listening public, national and international.
Yes.
And before I say anything else, God, I don't know how you all managed to start the program with that song that was playing before. But I would like to say this. I want to call on my higher power. For those who are listening and those who are supposed to be listening, I am praying and asking God in the name of Jesus to open their spiritual ears, and for those who are hearing to listen. And I hope at the end of this program, I will be able, in the name of Jesus, to be able to reach all those who need to hear this message and get deliverance this evening.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, Harold, I hope you're sitting and relaxed and ready to take us to church this afternoon.
Yes.
Where did it all start?
Quietly.
Right. So, where did it all start for you, Harold?
Okay. At the age of 5 years old, my dad was an alcoholic. My mother used to drink alcohol occasionally. And it was Christmas time. Christmas time, you know, at your home, your parents bring over their friends, and you know, the little children run about in the house. And they look at me and say, look at this cute one. Come, boy, how you is? And somebody will say, give him a little drink now, man. A little carrot, that's good for the worms. A little alcohol, good for the worms. Now, my parents and them, they drinking. They give me a sip in a carrot. When I sip that carrot, I take the whole bottle and go on with it. Now, them watching me now, 5 years old, I drinking this carrot, man, like I try to drift. But you know, Trinidadians have a funny way of getting kicked on serious thing. Here it is, I'm drifting, drinking a carrot, and everybody laughing. That is a joke. But nobody know what was going to happen years after that. So I started drinking alcohol at the age of 5 years old. When I was 9 years old, I attempted to kill my dad for abusing my mother because he was abusive to my mother. So I wanted to kill him, and my mother stopped me from killing him. And when she stopped me from killing him, I took an overdose of tablets because I had a kidney problem. I took an overdose of tablets, and I ended up in hospital for 3 months. While I was in hospital for the 3 months, an old man came to me and he said, son, if you kill a man, if you do anything, God will forgive you. But if you take your life, God won't forgive you. After that man told me that, when I left the hospital, I said, I want to get to know God. I want to live a Christian life. I came out of the hospital. I continued going to church. I was in the Catholic Church. I became an acolyte, you know, and going to church normal. I became a teenager in church. But then my sister now, well, I am the eldest out of 3, brother and sister. My sister, she started, when my dad, when he not around, my mom used to give us our freedom, so to go where we want. But I wasn't in no party and thing, but my sister used to line with a DJ, right? And when she come home in the night, she used to tell me about this fight she was in with some girl because of the DJ. That's all you hear, I'm getting a feedback.
Yeah.
No, we're hearing you clearly.
Oh, okay. Right, so she's talking about she used to be in a fight. She always in some kind of fight with some girl. So I say, you know something? I will go in party just to protect my sister. So the first time I go in the party, guys, the DJ playing the music, I stand up by the DJ, and they roll a big spliff. And come handing me, take a pull now, boy. I say, no, I good. Take a pull now, boy, chop it out. Boy, take a pull now, boy. So out of the pressure now, I take one pull. When I pull that joint so, my throat started to feel dry. I go by the bar, buy a mortar, and I come back. When I come back with that mortar and I stand up by them now, I just have to laugh. How people dance. I just have to laugh at everybody because even everybody looking funny. So when them see me laughing now, them start to give me more weed to smoke. So I start to smoke. I stopped going to church the following weekend. I started going party. I learned to play music. I became a DJ. And when I became a DJ, that was it.
The action started in Port of Spain. I came into Port of Spain to play music in the discotheque, something in Port of Spain. Carnival time, when the foreigners come down, they used to bring all the different type of jobs. You have LSD, PCP, X, Mandrax, you name it, we was trying it out. Because they used to come out for the DJ. Because in the discotheque, the DJs and them used to have a special booth where people could go and use drugs. So I was experimenting with drugs in that time. Then I get to meet a man who owned a hairdressing salon. And my job was to go in the hairdressing salon, play music to entertain the ladies and them while they waiting to get their hair done. And one day while doing that, I go into the man's office, see this glass desk, wanted a white line on the desk, and he's sniffing. When he see me now, he said, "Come and take a thing now, boy." Well, of course, I went and try out. I take a sniff in that thing, and when I take that thing, so I want to spit. He said, "Nah, take a drink of whiskey there." After that, I keep sniffing. I keep sniffing the cocaine, but it just used to numb me. But I didn't understand the feeling from it. Like it's a high. Like it was no high then. And then that same man now one day walked into his office again, and there it is where we started to learn to make crack cocaine. And when we make that crack cocaine and I taste that for the first time, I didn't want nothing else after that. That was it for me. You understand? But I never know. It was a cunning and deceiving thing. I never know that taste that I got the first time, that I will want that taste for the rest of my life, and I will never ever get it back.
No, Harold.
So I could,
before you continue, and we're going to show the listeners what these drugs you're describing here look like in a while, because we have images of the cocaine powder, the crack cocaine, and the paraphernalia, so that parents who listen can identify when they see it and what it looks like. But during that time, what was the response at home with your family and what you were doing, because you stopped going to church?
Right. Okay, guys, that time, no, my dad left us for 2 years. He went and worked on sea, right? So we wasn't hearing from him. So that's why I had was to leave school now and go and work to support home, right? So everything changed up at home. And when my dad did come back now, and he saw everybody big and doing what they want, he took to the bottom more. My dad died at the age of 55 years old with prostate cancer. And I was glad he died, but I was vexed because at that age, when he's supposed to be around me and show me, my dad teach me as a child growing up to build houses, because we build houses around us. Because he was also a builder, and he was an engineer on oil tankers. So he teach me how to use a hammer, clout, but he teach me a trade so that I had something to fall back on then, you know. But the environment changed, and when he came and died, when I got involved in crack cocaine, my mother was here, she lived in Trinidad, but when I got involved in crack cocaine now, and I was working, I was doing a good job. Huh? What you say, guy?
The beer. Yeah, no, Harold, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize it.
Yeah. What I was saying, the use of the drugs started to get more. I was in a good job. I was working in TSTT. They sent me to train in the police service. We are the first batch when they introduced 9 months training for police. I was part of that batch. And when we went and trained there and we passed out as police, our job was to train people to do security work. When I told them I wanted to join the service, after having the training, I wanted to get into the real service. They say because they don't have no passes, GCE passes, I couldn't get into the service. And we find it didn't make sense, because here it is, we don't do all the training, we pass out to do everything. But because we don't have GCE passes, so from that time then, the man who I used to deal with, he gave me a job to drive him around, $500 a day, just to go and buy cocaine and smoke cocaine. You understand? And my life get worse, it get out of hand. It reached a point where I want to use that myself, and I was desperate for money. I wasn't getting money fast enough, so I started to stress home. I started to stress my mother. Until one day my mother came home from work. She put a pay packet in the wardrobe, and she was talking to the neighbor outside, and her voice, I know for this full cocaine, and her voice telling me, it have money inside it. I just went and opened the wardrobe, find the pay packet, And I just run out the house and gone. And I went and pipe cooking the whole night. When I finish now, when it's cooking done, I had to go back home. When I reach back home, I go and lie now in the gallery to sleep because the place lock up. While I lie there now in the gallery to sleep, the following morning my mother opened the door and she had a cutlass coming down to chop off my neck. I just raised my hand and brakes and I run out the house. And from that day I ended up being a vagrant in the streets in Port of Spain. My mother ended up leaving the country. She went away for years, and I was on the streets. I spent a few years on the streets when things started to get worse with me. And then one day when I was eating out of a dustbin up by the hospital, one of the men who trained in the service with me passed and he see me eating out of the dustbin, and the man say, he just stood up and he watched, man. Our eyes met for him. When that man eyes meet me, for God, I felt so hurt. I couldn't believe this is what my life reached. I had everything I wanted in life, and look what my life reached to. And that day, I walked from Port of Spain to San Juan. And when I reached home, God, I went down on my knees and I cried, because let me tell you something, God, I take a razor blade and cut my veins. I tried all how to kill myself while I was using cocaine because I just wanted to get off. I had enough. I went in rehab centers, all the different rehab centers you could think about. I come out and I stay clean for a little while. I went in church, stay clean for a little while, and I still went back.
Now, Harold,
Okay.
before you continue, just let the listener know that you're listening to Independency, and we are speaking with Harold, who is recovered now, but he's taking us on his journey. His life as a polyaddict, so to speak, and I just want to go back to home with Mom.
Yeah.
Now, were you surprised at her reaction, or was it a culmination of things over time that she decided to let the cutlass do the talking this time?
Yeah, is after stressing out so much, the cutlass, because she said, I'll bring you into this world and I will take you out.
Very familiar words.
Yeah.
But there was, I think, well, apart from gas tank and all of these things,
yeah,
that you took. Now, when you just for the mothers who are listening, when you take a bracelet from your mom, gold bracelet, what happens with that bracelet?
You go in and sell it for next to nothing.
By the pusher, right?
Yeah.
And so a bracelet worth, let's say, $3,000-$4,000, would a pusher would give you what for that?
You might get $100.
$100.
Yeah.
And so that pay packet was the straw that broke the camel's back, you would think.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So hold it right there. We're gonna take a break, and when we return, I want people to hear the experience on the street, what life is like, seeking drugs, seeking money to buy drugs, and the dangers in it. You're listening to Independency, so hold on there, Harold. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
I am Suzette, and you're listening to Independency with Garth and Natasha on I-95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago. Don't traffic drugs. It's not worth it.
Agricola is back with loan promotions that will make you go wow! The computer and internet bundle CIB loan. Get a maximum of $15,000 with just a 0.75% interest rate. Call or come into our offices at Pro Queen Street, Arima, 667-7633. Pamela's Mall, Marabella, 219-7745. Scarborough, Tobago, 639-6468. Or Port of Spain, 627-3127. Agricola Credit Union, your very own, working for you.
Young women and girls are being forced to work in the sex trade all over the world. They're exploited by human traffickers who trick them with false promises of well-paid jobs. Some are held like prisoners. They're beaten, even raped. Do you know anyone at risk? Warn them of the dangers. This could be your daughter, your sister, or your friend. Make sure it isn't you. This is Julia Ormond, Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
Child labor is when I cannot go to go to school, play with friends, go to the beach, go to the movies, ride my bike, rollerblade, or do other fun activities because I am forced to work. Report child labor to the Labor Inspectorate at 299-0300 option 3 or Childline at 131 or 800-4321.
I'm Marva, and you're listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha on I-95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago. Don't be a fool and be a mule.
All right, thank you for staying with us, and we rejoin the conversation with Harold, who is about to tell us about life on the street as a drug user. And remember, in a short while, we will show you all the images of the drugs that Harold referenced. And if you see it in your home, you know what it looks like. You know what the paraphernalia look like. And, of course, Harold will fill the rest in. So, Harold, tell us now about that time on the streets. And what was it like navigating the streets as a crack addict?
Well, God, on the streets, it's not an easy thing because you find yourself robbing people, you find yourself going into places and stealing things, and it wasn't an easy thing, and then you find people, as is an addict in those days, addicts used to get plenty licks,
Mm-hmm.
Addicts used to get plenty licks, so I had my share of everything, and it wasn't easy, and that day, I mean, you're hungry, and all I could do was to get some piece of bread in a dustbin to eat, and that was it for me, boy. That one was real hard, boy. But, you were talking about paraphernalia and something, I want to remind the families at home, you see a foil paper, you had to watch a foil paper, you have certain glass we used to use. But it was one thing I'd say that, okay, we could talk about the paraphernalia and things, but once somebody asked me a question in a lecture I was doing, and they said, well, what is the ingredients to make crack cocaine? And I never give nobody no ingredients. I'm not doing that at all.
Right.
And I said, because let me tell you something, God made human beings good. Everything God made on this earth was good, right? And here where it just went wrong. Disobedience. He said, well, here what's going on? Just don't interfere. That treated I might treat it. You understand? But disobedience. And if you check out something, God, when I go to do lectures, when I was doing lectures and things, I never tell anybody, don't do this, don't do that. All I share is my experience, and they will decide now if they want to do that or if they don't want to do it. Because human beings designed like this. The minute you tell somebody not to do something, that is the time they go in and do it because they want to know why. And then another thing too, we say not to do this, but we doing it. So we're not setting an example. When I was working as a counselor in Piparo, I had to live by example. Because as you see drug addicts, we want to see people living by example if they're teaching us. You can't tell me don't smoke, but you smoking cigarette. You can't tell me don't drink, but you drinking. You understand? So I had also live by example. Because when I went in prison, when I went on my knees and I asked God to deliver me from drugs any way He sees fit.
Right. So you tell us, that's when the guy saw you in the dustbin, and then you decided to walk home, and you decided, right. So what happened from there?
Right. From there I went home. I went on my knees. I cried to God, and the words I used was, "Deliver me from drugs any way You see fit." The following morning I wake up. I'm supposed to go and look for drugs, but that morning I wake up because there's one house, the house separated in half. My sister blocked off to the side. I went by the window. She went to work. I went by the window. She was in ISRP at that time. I went and I pushed my hand through the window because I had a piece of cake on the table. And I take up that piece of cake and I eat it. And that morning, normally if I take something to eat from my house, I would just leave the yard one time. But that particular morning, I sit down on the veranda. Next thing you know, I see a man come walking around the corner asking me why doing this. He in plain clothes. And after she come in uniform, she went and checked her apartment to see what was missing. When she came over by my apartment now, the ceiling gone, is only the roof. I had nothing in the place. The place in a state, So the policeman asked us, so what we going to do?
You took off the ceiling, Harold?
Yeah, I sell the ceiling in my house.
And the roof?
Just the roof alone remain galvanized.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when the policeman said, she said, well, okay, we carry them down. When they carry me in the police station, God, 10 o'clock in the morning. But I don't know what they charge him for, if they charge him. So I say, when it's lunchtime, they go, let me go. When it's lunchtime, they ain't let me go. A voice say, boy, hang yourself. I take off my pants, tie it around my neck, and I hang myself in the cell. While I was hanging there, the fucker dead, one of the other prisoners now come and hold me. And they started pound down the gate and call the officer, and then when they come and they see me hanging, they say, nah, boy, this man looking serious, we gotta carry him down the road. Then bring me down to the black house in court. When they up to now, I know what I charge for, They put me for the magistrate, not my charge JP, because the magistrate wasn't there. The GP saying, well, they gotta lock me up now and put me on bail. So I telling the JP as well, it's nobody come in and take no bail for me, nobody, He had nothing to do with that. Them carry me in the cell in Frederick Street, God. And when they carry me in that cell in Frederick Street, boy, man. And they said, people, I measured that cell. I went down on the falls, I stretched out myself, and I measured the cell 6 feet by 8 feet. And I had 10 or 11 of us inside there, right? I had the bucket, the pail is called it. We had to do everything inside that bucket there, and the place was in a mess. You understand? I was on bail, God, and all somebody had to pay was $1,000 to take me out on bail. I send messages to people who owing me money and things. But look at on bail, come and take my bail. Nobody never come. God, I spent 3 months inside that place, right? And after that 3 months, I went down on my knees again and I cried. I said, God, if you know, when I come out here, I will go back and use drugs again. Especially put me away for a long time, and I wasn't conscious of the words I using it. And I just say them words. You understand? And when the following day, after the 3 months, they take me to court. As I reach before the magistrate, I say, my honor, I guilty. I don't even know what they charge me for. I say, my honor, I guilty. The magistrate watch me. He says, son, you have a problem? He said, well, anyhow, in this courtroom, we had to give the maximum sentence, But I forget the meaning of the word maximum. I thought the man mean minimum. He go send me in some rehab or some place for a little small time, Man tell me he gave me 2 years hard labor.
Oh, wow.
Well, God, when the man say that, is right in the back house, he have a glass window behind the judge, the magistrate at that time. I run to throw myself up the building, the whole man. Carry me down, say, tie me up, they carry me back up Frederick Street. When I reach up Frederick Street, now, they say they're going to transport me to Golden Grove. When I reach up in Golden Grove, God, now all this time, remember the words I used there? I asked God to deliver me from drugs anyway, see fit.
Yes.
And if I not go use drugs again, put me away for a long time. When I reach up in Golden Grove and they open the dormitory to put me in, I watch all the fellas and them on the ground lying down, and this long dormitory. And as the officer opened the gate, that's all I see is a bird passing in front of that gate. And it's the first time in my life I understood what is freedom. Freedom. And here now, man, as I watch up in the air and I see that bird, I tell him, God, I say, okay, go to what next? And as I say that, God, I hear some fellas singing hymns and things. And the voice tell me, just go straight to them fellas and them. I went straight to them fellas and them, God. Stand up by them, started lying with them, and after I started studying the Bible and thing with them. God, after 3 months in prison, now the first day, God, I never feel no urge for no cigarette, nothing at all. I have them thing in prison. After 3 months in prison, when they carry me up in the dump in Arima, I never even knew it had a dump in Arima. When the officers and them carry me on a truck up in Arima, rain started fall, them leave me outside, them running the truck. A man run up to me, pull my pants, put a bag down inside my pants, and he gone. So when I go in the truck now and we go knock in the prison, I go in a corner and I pull out the bag. When I pull out the bag, it's a bag of weed. But I started to sell weed down inside prison because it's, inside prison, weed, cigarette, and all these things, it's illegal. But when you're selling these things in prison, it's a little piece of selling, and you get in a pack of cigarette, you get a man pair of sneakers cost $500, they give him a little weed, So I was buying these things in prison, and then 2 o'clock in the morning, God, the Spirit of God will wake me up and say to me, Harold, look at all them fellas lying down there. Them fellas is your brother, so if you're not taking the drugs for yourself, why are you giving it to them? what we don't like for ourselves, we don't give on to others. God, from that morning, I stopped dealing with drugs in prison. I used to ferment foods and make alcohol in prison, you know, everything. And not one day I ever smoked or drink. I had no feelings at all, you know, because the spirit had left me. It left me in prison in tongue, you know. I feel something leave my head and pass through my body and come out, you know. And that why it is no, these things are spirits. Nicotine is a spirit. Cocaine is a spirit. Alcohol is a spirit. Remember that advertisement is making alcohol, the spirit of Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes.
All these things are spirits. You understand? So when I stop dealing with that in prison and I come out, when I tell you officers and them, well, first it began before I leave prison, this is what happens to me. I tell you officers and them, me, they don't know jobs in prison again. I want to change my life. I want to live the Christian life. So I had to walk the talk. Them say, you joking, man, you ain't serious. So I started to live the life and I walk the talk. When I started to walk the talk now, prisoners want to kill me. Because I pray and fast for 4 days straight. I wanted to test how powerful God is. I pray and fast for 4 days straight with no water, nothing. For Easter weekend. In prison, guys, a man could come out a better person or he could come out a criminal. I meet all kind of people in prison. I never lie with nobody. I had a choice to go and continue my construction trade because the officers and them see I had the potential. They put money construction gang. We build the female prison. And I learned that female prison was an email owner because they have no air like how we have it. How we have it. I'm telling you. But anyhow, after that, God, that experience inside that prison there, I just tell man, I see young men come inside there and they have this craving for nicotine. See a man smoking his cigarette. He go up to the man. Hey, partner, give me a smoke there now, boy. The man watching from head to toe. God, get the boy his cigarette. When the boys had to pull his cigarette, you see the flame going down on the cigarette. When the boy don't pull his cigarette, when the man just put his hand around him and going in a corner with him.
Right, that is payback.
Yeah, you understand? It's and nicotine, right? You know, the kind of things I witness inside there, God. I thank God for my experience, but I will always tell people, by the grace of God in the name of Jesus Christ, so I can't see myself in a prison again unless I go in and give a talk. You understand?
How long did you did the full 2 years or 1 year?
Yeah, 2 years because I spent 3 months in the Raymond Yard, right? And I did 18 months up there.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Yeah.
Now, if you're just joining us, ladies and gents and listeners, you are listening to Our Independency, and we are speaking with Harold, who is giving us a journey into his life as a poly addict and how he was able to get out of it. So, you were released eventually.
Yeah. When you come out of prison now, you know, you ain't working nowhere, right?
Oh, sorry, Harold. Before you go, would it have helped if at that time there were drug treatment facilities or even programs in the prison? Were there any when you were there?
No, it has none of that, God. And I thank God that you all came up with that idea, and I hope, I don't know if it's still going on, but I hope the program in prison really going on, because let me tell you something, this thing is needed. You see reformation, you see a person going in prison, they really need to have programs to help a man change. If society is saying we want somebody to change, right? We're hoping somebody will change when they go inside. They must have things in place in order for a person to change before they come outside here. It must have things in place, God.
So there was no drug treatment program or facility?
No, I didn't have that.
Right.
Nah.
So you basically, you were on your own when you returned to society?
That's right.
Okay, so tell us what happened when you returned to society.
Okay, when I came back out now, no work, I started to work, like do them 10 days project and thing. I went and asked somebody, so I get a little 10 days, you know. But that wasn't enough for me. And then one day, a man walked up to me. He said, you have a passport? Because it was one thing. I used to maintain those things, my passport and thing. I used to keep them up to date now.
Right.
I said, yeah. He said, well, what's going on? Now, I remember I know construction from foundation to finish, you know.
Right.
So, and the man didn't know me. You know, I go in construction. You know, I is a person trustworthy too. So he said, I go in St. Lucia. I'll carry some men in St. Lucia, do a work away to go in May, go be the foreman. Well, that, I go on with this man to St. Lucia. Well, the man was a Christian. I go on to St. Lucia with the man. Look at the kind of experiences we did experience when you're in recovery, because the challenges is there to go back. Because here what happened to me when I go on solution with this man now. I working with the man. I go in the bank. 80,000, 100,000 we taking out to pay the solution workers and our workers. But our money always short. We working for an American firm. We build the Jalousie Hotel. That hotel owned by the Shah of Iran nephew, I think it's something so.
Right.
Right. When one day we decide to go and talk to the Americans and find out why our money always short. God, you know what the American man tell us? No, but we always giving him his money. He used to go behind our back and take money, and the man used to go and run down ladies with the money. God, when the Trinidadians find out that, they nearly kill the man, you know. And I, as before, I is the main person. Here he should bring me say, I tell the man, hey, you're going on. My money was short all the time. I say, you're going on. Keep my money until the job finish. I have to take all my money one time. But boy, that was a mistake I made. When I catch myself, I end up leaving them now. I wasn't aware about you can't stay in a country for too long and all them different. I thought all of we in the Caribbean is one and you could stay any part of the Caribbean anytime. But God, I had no idea about that. All I know, I stay in St. Lucia for a few years. I started to get work. I went to a company working, a supermarket working, doing sales and things. Next thing you know, it reached a point where I started to do work with the St. Lucia police up there. And the police up there is immigration. So the woman I'm working with now, she asked me for my passport and things. When they checked my passport nearly expired in Trinidad, and I had to make some changes. So they said, I got to come to Trinidad and renew my passport and come back up. God, I didn't have no money because I was only working voluntary work up there. When I do come to Trinidad, God, it was just to renew my passport and get back up. I get a return flight. I get a return flight. I go on back up. St. Lucia 2 airports. When I go on in the next airport, the customer checking my passport, he's saying, but you overstay your time here the last time. But the female officer is saying, but no, you have a return ticket so you could come in now. No. Here, go back. Go back on the plane. God, I was in shock. I couldn't believe what is going on. I saying, I come back to Trinidad, me have no money, me have nothing here. And them sending me back down here. That on the plane and I'm studying how to destroy the plane. Is all kind of thing going through my head.
What?
When I reach back here, I send messages to St. Lucia, to people who are knowing St. Lucia. I tell them I need a ticket. Somebody buy a ticket. I go pay them and I come back. They buy the ticket from my God and I go back to St. Lucia. That's when I reach back to St. Lucia and I go and I talk to the inspector, woman who I was working with, because it's up there. It's up there. We did the police youth clubs.
Uh-huh.
They have that up there from a long time. So I know about police youth club long time there. You understand? Because up there we learn that and community policing.
Right.
I learned that up there too. They have the real thing up there, guys. Down here, this community policing down here, community policing ain't ready for what going on down here at all. But anyhow, that be on the point. So what I'm saying now, when I go and I explain to the woman what's this going on, God, you know them went to the officer who sent me back down. You know why that officer moved so with me? You know it because some Trinidadian man went with his woman.
Okay. So
but you know, and here I update is act fast. If I work with the government and you do me that, why did they send you home and a little rest one time? Because how you will do me that? I never do you nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just joining us, folks. You're listening to Our Independency, of course, and we live on Our Independency Facebook page, and we're speaking with Harold, who is a recovered poly addict, and he's taking us on a journey through his life and how he managed to pull out of that addiction. So how long you ended up staying in St. Lucia for, Harold?
Well, I ended up staying in St. Lucia for 8 years.
8 years, okay. And you didn't have a relapse during that time?
No.
Right.
I was going to church and thing. I was trying to get married, all kind of thing up there and get disappointed. But that's the next story by itself.
So
that's the next story.
Right. So what brought you back to Trinidad?
Okay, well, my passport brought me back here again because the time it up, and I had a lot of things to renew. But when I came back here now, I say I was going back up, but again I got stranded here financially. So I'm asking God, I say, but why? Why must I be stranded here, I didn't understand God had a work here for me to do. You know, so I got involved with the different rehab centers down here, Families in Action. I got involved because I started going my sessions, you know. Because one thing I learned in recovery, you have to keep being able to find a forum where we can speak what is bothering us. Because God, they say pressure is burst pipe, right? People just want to know how I ended up on drugs. Everybody know the kind of family I grew up in, the society I grew up in. How did you end up in drugs? I was always quiet. Everything bothered me, God. I never talk about it. So parents, if any child you see you have home, watch that child. Because it have things was going on in my mind that I couldn't tell nobody about it. I kept everything to myself. And that's how my pressure burst is when I get introduced to drugs.
Right.
So I am telling people today, we have to learn to talk about what bothering us now. God, you see right now, I have things bothering me now. Things that could have, even somebody else, they would have done gone back on drugs already. And by God's grace.
So you never had a relapse after coming out of prison and.
No.
Right.
Nah,
so that was enough for you.
Yeah, I mean, I get in dreams, eh?
Right.
I get my dreams in the sense that, you see, when I'm stressed out and things, and I go on and sleep, the only thing I dream about is cocaine. Like I go in and use cocaine then, but I doesn't use it.
Right. So we're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to let people know now about life after drug use, recovery, cravings.
Yeah.
Because you experienced some cravings and what you did about it and all of that. And remember, folks, we still have to show you that those pictures of the drugs and the paraphernalia that you would be on the lookout for at home. You're listening to Independency. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
My name is Shirley Ann Alexander, licensed social worker, licensed by the state of New Jersey. You are now listening to Ion Dependency with God and Natasha on I-95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago.
Go, sona. I come in. And don't give me no attitude there.
You have Shiana manners, boy. I wish I had your touch, boy.
You have to groom them. First, you have to target them. Scope them out. See if they have low self-esteem, family problems, you know. Then you move in and gain the trust.
I like your glasses.
After that, you feel a need. Some of them like nice things like fancy phones, hairdos, clothes, food. It have ones who only looking for somebody to care and listen to the problems. You feel me? What's important though, you have to isolate them from the people. Let them believe it's all about you and them.
I care about you.
Then you get through.
Nice.
Look one right here. Try thing now.
A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Hacer tareas domésticas no es trabajo infantil. Lavar los platos, limpiar su cuarto, recoger los juguetes y realizar otras tareas que fortalecen su personalidad en casa no es trabajo infantil. Esas tareas enseñan a los niños a ser responsables y les preparan para la vida adulta. Denunció el trabajo infantil a la Unidad de Inspección del Trabajo en el 200-99-0300, opción 3 o Childline en 131 o en la 800-4321. Un mensaje del Ministerio de Trabajo.
Agricola is back with loan promotions that will make you go wow! Wow! 60 to 40 loan. For new members or members with no loan, get a maximum of $300,000 with just a 1% interest rate. Call or come into our offices at Pro Queen Street, Arima, 667-7633. Pamela's Mall, Marabella, 219-7745. Scarborough, Tobago, 639-6468. Or Port of Spain, 627-3127. Agricola Credit Union, your very own, working for you.
My name is Joanne Ferdinand. I am a Justice of the Supreme Court in New York State, and you are listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha on I-95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Independency, and we are speaking with Harold, a recovered polyaddict who, and when we refer to polyaddict, it means someone who was addicted to more than one substance. So we had alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, pills, psychedelic drugs, you name it, Harold's done it. Now, Harold...
No, before Harold, before we go to the recovery journey, I wanted to ask about when you were living at home with your mom. Were you using while you were at home? And this is in the context of parents who may have children or a spouse who is using at home. Apart from the paraphernalia and stuff, what is more important is the change in behavior. So could you describe to us what sort of behavior you would exhibit that would have allowed your siblings and your mother to say, well, something is going on with Harold?
Okay, well, my door to my room was always locked.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started using incense. I used to burn cockset. I using things to kill the smell.
Yes.
You understand? There's things to kill the smell, you know? Right. And my behavior was different too, in the sense that I wasn't talking to anybody. Well, I never used to talk, but still it was worse. You know, I never used to eat. When I used cocaine, I never used to eat. When I smoke weed, I used to eat real food. But when I smoke cocaine, I never used to eat.
Right.
You know? And
would your behavior be more hasty? Obviously, you know,
yes.
People find things missing from the house and then it
escalates.
Yes,
of course. Yes. You know, everything will be pointed at me. You know? And, you know, they used to hide sometimes. My mother would hide things so much that she forget where she hide it, and she will feel like thief it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So when you so what was the relationship like with them? As a matter of first, when you were confronted them many times, did you ever promise to go for help or go to rehab? And
well, God, my brother is dead now, right? You see, my brother, my sister, my brother is the only one who ever tried to get me into rehab. He helped me to reach Quora. You understand? And he is the one I distressed the most. My sister, I hardly took anything from her. I remember thieving a gold chain from her. When I started my recovery at one time before I relapsed, I went and gave her the same gold chain and gave it to her. You understand? But it's afterwards, in my recovery, I get to understand my sister wanted the place herself. She wanted to be there without me. She didn't want me in the picture then.
Right.
You understand? Yeah, but before I say anything else, while I was in St. Lucia, in a school doing a talk, I remember a young girl asked me in the question section. She asked me a question. I got an eyeliner. Up to last night, I was thinking about it. She asked me if I ever introduced anybody to drugs. And I introduced one person to drugs, and that was my girlfriend, my first girlfriend from school. You know, and
no, that is important. That is very important. Go ahead.
Yeah, it ended up being real bad, you know, because she was living with the grandmother down here, and the grandmother and them, you know, they tried to keep her under manners, but, you know, my lifestyle was different, so on weekends she would come and stay home by me, you know, and then she was going to church too, you know. So she seen me smoking weed, and she around me, and I just said, well, take a pull now, you know. And I introduced her to weed, and that was it, you know, because we come and end up falling out. And when she went away by her mother, next thing I heard is that she started using drugs in America. And besides weed, it went on to cocaine, and then she got hooked. And her life was miserable. She ended up making 3 different children, you know. And when they told me what happened to her, I was saying, well, let's get her back down here and I will help her, you know. But It didn't work out until she was deported. And when she came down here once with the children and them, and I get to see them and thing, you know, and she went back up. I talked to her when she came down, and I tell her, you know, the programs they have up there, God, you see, it has different types of programs for different people, you know, and people don't understand the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. This is why I tell people today, God, the best program for any addict in recovery, especially drug addict, is a therapeutic program. You understand?
Right. So, and when you say therapeutic, you mean in-house?
In-house.
Rehabilitation.
In-house.
Yes.
Yes. You understand?
But before you go on, Harold, I want to explain to parents that the only way for someone to recover or go into therapy as a therapeutic community is the person must admit they have a problem and they need help.
Yeah, but let me say that. Yeah, and here now, families, everybody who is listening, all their relatives, anybody in this, let me tell you something I know. The pain, all the feelings. But let me tell you, no matter what all they do for that person don't want to do it for themselves. If that person don't reach rock bottom, everybody have a different rock bottom, you know. My own was being big on the street. Everybody have a different rock bottom. See, that person don't want to do it. No matter what all they do, you could send them in rehab. A woman came down here. I know a guy who I used to smoke cocaine with. God, the man still on the streets up to today. You understand? The man, family from England come down. Want to pay me all kind of money to tell them. Let me tell you something. That ain't going to work. It is not going to work. He have to want this. You understand?
Right.
You have to want this. So families, I know it's hard. All you going to be trying. But let me tell you something. All you have to put on the tough love too. All you can't be saying, all you want to have the addict. But when he come, he tell you how much food he wants. All you giving him money to do this. No. All you have to put on the tough love.
And you know how there are mothers. Now, some fathers could apply that tough love in a minute.
Yes.
But there are mothers who enable addicts and don't want to apply tough love. What do you say to them?
Yes. Let me tell you something, guys. You say that. That is the problem. Even in a rehab setting, you find the women who work in the rehab center, they getting through the men and them fooling them. You know, when in a rehab center, when you have a man facing a man, you know, that's a total different thing.
Right.
Because it's real. You see, women, remember, most of us men who end up in this way, we never had a father figure around us. We never had a dad around us. You understand? So it's easy to gravitate to the women and them. But when you want recovery, you have to forget the woman's side and deal with the man's side. Where your dad wasn't there for you. Where your dad was this, he was that. This is the reality we had to deal with.
And so when in recovery now, how did your family know that we were on the road to recovery and you maintaining sobriety? What was the response of your family?
Well, my brother heard of it because people call him and tell him before he died, you know, people call him and tell him because he ended up taking on my dad's side. He went away, he got involved with women, he got married, but he was drinking and he had good business, everything was going good. I wanted to go up, I wanted him to try and help me to get up there with him to help him in his business and thing. But I don't know if he still didn't trust me or what, but he ended up being drinking, abusing the women and them. And you know when they abuse women in the States, when they go to the law, you're losing everything you have.
Yeah.
You understand? So he ended up drinking and being on the streets and he ended up dying with liver and kidney failure.
Right. Before you go on, Harold, sorry to interrupt you again, but you see you're touching so many important points. Now, for people to understand hereditary.
Yes.
So your father was an alcoholic.
Yes.
And
abusive.
And you became a polyaddict, and your brother was also an alcoholic.
Yes.
So this thing can be real. That from generation to generation.
Hereditary. Yes. And as he's talking from generation to generation, this is what I think it's Jerry on the program last night. Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah. He made
Not Jerry. Fred. Sorry. Fred.
Right.
Yes.
He made his statement. I must break this cycle. That is what have me going the way I'm going today. Because I say my dad died an alcoholic. My brother died, so I must not die that way.
And
I
what was
have to
the
break that cycle.
and the relationship with you and your family now when you're in sobriety now? What was that like? Did they trust you, your mom, your sister? What was that journey like?
God, I think this program had the time to go through that, because let me tell you something. My sister, I tell you, she brought my mother down from the States to testify against me in court and all kind of thing, right? And to the relationship, up to now, I don't know where my sister is. She's not in touch with me. She's not in touch with my mother. We don't know where she is, right? My mother had applied for her to be a citizen of America, so she's somewhere in America, right?
Okay.
My brother there, so it's just me and my mom alone right now. You know, and I am the one who is taking care of my mom right now.
So that relationship has changed with you and your mom?
Totally. Yes. She depends on me. She trusts me, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I have to do everything with her right now.
So Harold, for the benefit now of someone who would have a child or two or relative who just came out of rehab, what is expected of that person?
A person now come out of rehab?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing is that they have to keep involved in the 12-step program. And that 12-step, God, is really deeper. I mean, if you study the 12 steps, because they have to apply the 12 steps to their life in order to recover, like part of recovery. Right. Because this recovery, as people don't understand, this is a spiritual awakening you must have. You must have a spiritual awakening. This is what the 12 steps is about. If you don't have that spiritual awakening, how could you fight something you cannot see? You cannot fight something you cannot see, so you have to get another spirit to fight that spirit. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It is a spiritual awakening. People who seek in recovery, we must have a spiritual awakening to understand what it is we are up against.
And what are some of the challenges now, Harold, that you would have experienced in recovery?
Well, God, let me talk from now, right now. Right now, as I sit now in this car here talking to all you now. In my recovery right now, God, you know what it is to be living in a house with your wife not talking to your mother and your wife don't get along. Your mother in a room. If I'm not home, my mother is not going to get nothing to eat. I have to see for my mother. I have to do everything for my mother. This is one of the things I have to deal with right now, right?
Right.
It is not easy for me to accept this. I've been praying and asking God, get into my wife's mind, because she's supposed to be a Christian. She's supposed to forgive and forget. She tell me about something my mother said to her years ago. You understand? And it hurts so much that she can't forget that. And she said, oh God, you know, my mother is an old woman. You studying to do social work, but you can't work with people who you're seeing. You understand? And these are things that is bothering me, you know, like one of the things they got. A few months ago, they robbed me and Chief my car. I think I tell you about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they robbed me and Chief my car. I lost everything in my car. Look, right now, my insurance for this car coming up next month. I don't have no money for the insurance. I don't have no steady income. I have to be hustling to survive. You understand? Now, all these things, a person who used to use drugs, he will say, boy, better go back and smoke, yes, boy, because this is making sense. Them pipers, them living better than me right now. Because them have nothing to worry about, except where the next smoke coming from. You understand? So
No,
right
but
now,
you were part of the staff at Piparo Empowerment Center at one time.
Yeah. I met a client. Let me tell you this. I met a client there last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a client from there. He working there right now. And you know what he's saying to me, Mr. Rennie, why you don't come back in the program? We're missing people like you up there because the program is not how it used to be. Right. That center, I don't know if Ms. Cox is listening, but you see that center, it's supposed to be self-sufficient. That was the plan we had for that program. It have the resources, it have everything there to make that program self-sufficient. But when you put square pegs in wrong holes, that is what's going on right now. The therapeutic program itself, it's gone. Do you understand?
So
and it's sad, it's real sad. That was the best program we had in Trinidad and Tobago, God. That program.
And that time you and Gavin and all of those guys.
I mean,
were there.
Mr. Cole, yeah.
Because there's a lot of land for agriculture and all of that there, right?
Remember, we have agriculture. Okay, picture this, right? Remember when Joe Chedi was controlling there? how much? Over 300 trucks used to go and deliver citrus to citrus growers, right?
Right.
Okay, if a government take over a place like that from somebody, you tell me you can have these same trucks doing the same deliveries, but it's for the center. You understand? Only money goes towards the center to make things better. They make woodwork, they make workshops there. The American government donated close to $500,000 in machinery. Those machinery so put down. You understand? Everything is a show. You understand? Nobody really interested in I just say the recycling drug addict, because they might feel like without no drug addict they want to work. You understand? The recycling drug addicts. This is that I have a real problem. A lot of the programs down here, God. People don't like me when I talk, but I just tell it like it is.
No,
that is a real concern, that the fact that we do not in Trinidad and Tobago have a robust drug treatment infrastructure.
That's right.
Given the kind of drugs that are available to people here, the rate of addiction, and the fact that we have drug treatment courts.
You know what I would add to that is that there is no coordination. Let me just say that connectivity. Everybody doing their thing in different silos,
yes.
And the drug treatment facility at the prison. I keep asking over and over, because there's no point in having drug treatment court and there's no drug treatment facility in the prison.
In the prison, yeah.
Right? Because there are some people that will get custodial sentences. What do you do with them? But they're not criminals. They're not correct criminals. They have a problem. So what you do is you send them to the drug treatment facility in the prison. Once they complete that, then they will come out there with a clean record. That is the ace there, right there. And that connectivity, I don't think that it's there, and it's unfortunate. We will hear pretty soon. I hope with regard to the drug treatment courts, there's an expected change to come. I understand. I have not gotten all the details as yet, but we wait patiently and anxiously on that. In the meantime, we just have the will of the addict to try and stay away from these systems.
But it helps if everyone understands addiction as a public health issue.
Yes.
That's right.
First,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody from the police to the magistrate to the mother in the home to the person in the hospital, the nurse or the doctor.
The Ministry of Health.
Everybody needs to be on the same page with that.
And see it not as a moral deficiency, but a health issue. And that way, when if you have health insurance, you should be able to pay, or that insurance is supposed to be able to pay for your stay in rehab.
Correct.
You understand?
Yeah.
But it's yet to see that movement. So
and one of the things, God, that has kept me right now too, is okay, I thank God that only allow me this program to speak, because people will say I just go to the wrong places to talk, where it is bothering me.
Yeah.
You understand? But I know why I'm going through. You understand? And we're keeping me clean. I just tell people, see why I'm going through now, God? Well, cocaine worse than this. Using cocaine worse than why I'm going through right now, why? You understand? People don't understand. People will understand this thing, God. People will understand this thing.
No, they won't. But did you ever try to get a presidential pardon as well?
Oh God, well, when I came out of prison, God, I don't think I have to talk this public,
Okay, well,
I want to talk to you private about that part.
Okay. Now, so for the families listening, again, with regard to the family, once there's an addict in your home, the family will be sick as well. What advice would you give to the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, who looking at their relative just destroying themselves and they seem helpless? What would you say to them?
Okay, first thing I say to them is do not give up. I see a lot of families give up. Like me, I didn't have no family support, but I see that family is still supporting the addict, trying to help them. So I don't think you should give up and continue to pray. You understand? But don't give up on them. Don't give up, but learn the different strategies. And let me tell you something. If you want to talk to an addict, don't wait till he done pipe or he done smoky weed to go and talk to him. That don't make sense.
Yes.
When he wake up in the morning, before he could smoke or drink or do anything, that only time he could talk to somebody. And don't talk to them in the environment that you living in and he living in. Or you go, say, let me go for a drive now, boy. Go by the sea. Go to a neutral environment. Don't ever try to talk to somebody in the same environment.
Yes.
Because you are power there and them are power there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we're gonna take a quick break. During that time, we want you to, if you can, go to Independency Facebook page so we can show you the images of the different drugs Harold spoke about, the paraphernalia, if you happen to see it at home. And we'll keep Harold on the line. I'll also share the 12-step with you. And also when we come back, Jomoke will come back with that song, My Brother's Keeper, so you could hear what I wrote about Harold in the second verse of this calypso. So stay right there. You're listening to Independency. We'll be back.
My name is Lou Golding, and I'm the manager of the Substance Abuse Program for African, Canadian, and Caribbean Youth at CAMH in Toronto, Canada. And you're listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha, Trinidad and Tobago.
Ah, boy. I feel I'm gonna buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? Mm-hmm. What you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here. Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
The worst forms of child labor include child sex trafficking, child prostitution, child pornography, child soldiering, trafficking of drugs, hazardous work, and dangerous work. This applies to children who are under 18 years old. If you spot or suspect this is happening, report it to the Counter-Trafficking Unit at 800-4288 or the Labor Inspectorate at 299-0300, option 3.
Hi, my name is Alistair Livingston. Know your ability. Never swim alone or swim at night, because you could be swept out and there's no one there to rescue you. Non and weak swimmers should not swim beyond waist depth. If that water is rough, never go beyond knee height. Flotation devices are very dangerous. Non-swimmers, weak swimmers should not engage in using flotation because you can be pulled out. They can be deflated, they can be punctured, or you can be pulled out by the current. If you get into difficulties, what should you do? Never jump off this flotation device. Hold on to it, raise your hands, call for help. Eating. Whenever you have a meal, wait 1 hour before venturing into swimming again. Lightning. If there's lightning and you're in the water, you need to get out immediately. Alcohol. Alcohol and water do not mix. Whenever you consume alcohol, you should not engage in swimming. It impairs your judgment, this damages your coordination. Learn to swim. Remember, be water wise and save lives.
I
I am Stephen Clark. I am a justice in the Ontario Court of Justice in Toronto, Canada, and you are listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha on I-95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago.
This song is dedicated to my mother and mothers all over the world who suffers at the hands of their crack-addicted sons and daughters. This one is for you. Hindsight is 20/20 vision. Thank God I've been set free. Now that I'm in a clean position, I want to help somebody, because somebody crying, somebody dying, some other poor soul rolling on the floor. Some homes are drifting because somebody piping a cocaine rock that leads them to death's door. Dope is death and destruction, I come to underscore. For all the pain I put you through and all them senseless things I do, mother, I'm sorry, so sorry. Although I robbed you to buy crack, you never ever turn your back. You stood right by me, right by me. So if I never hug you and tell you thanks, well, this calypso is the medium I used to say, Frank, how much I love you. I pray that my testimony will be the bridge across which some cocaine addict will do like me and make a clean switch. I am my brother's keeper. Tell the world I am my brother's keeper. Bring this song. Lead and die and go. This one is dedicated to my brother Harold and his mother. This one's for you, brother. Lacking parental love, one brother from comfort in smoking crack. And although he now clean up completely, the same parents come the back. So the prodigal son groans, lost and all alone. No fatted calf, no ring, no robe, no welcome embrace. He's in double jeopardy, scorned by his family, caught between a rock and a real hard place. So recovery is now the hardest thing for him to face. For all the pain he put you through and all them stupid things he do, you know the boy's sorry. He's so sorry. He sell your gas tank to buy crack, but it's time you forget that and stand up by he, stand up with he. And if he never hug you and tell you thanks, well, this calypso is the medium we used to say, Frank, how much we love you. We pray that our testimony will be the bridge across which some cocaine addicts will do like we and make a clean switch. I am my brother's keeper. I want you to know I am my brother's keeper.
Written by Gregory Ballantyne. Music by the All Stars.
There's only tears in the studio right now, you know.
With music by Juice Man and the All Stars. And yes, Harold, and sung by yours too.
You see that the part you put in there for me, but I mean, it was exact and true, you know. I mean, it's like, I tell you, the first time I hear that, I cry. I mean, I'm crying all now still.
Yes.
Yeah, make Jomoki and all crying in here. Yeah, let her tears in the studio this evening, but
it's real, you know.
But there
was no love. You know, I tell my mother last year, you know, as we talking and thing now, I asked her, you know, how it is, our family was like that. You know, I take after my mother in the not talking part because my mother don't talk at all. Anything mother, you know, she don't talk. She in pain, she ain't talking, you know. So I started to talk to her now and I asked her, I mean, only never hug us one day and say, I love you, you know, I love you. Never had that in the family, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all I wanted to know. I used to watch programs on TV, all them family shows on TV, the Brady Boys and all them kind of family shows.
And the Crosbys,
you
and
the love, you know, and it's like, why it is that wasn't in me family,
I know, I know. But we have some. Annette had a question for you, Harold, and one of our folks. We have several messages for you on Facebook. And Annette was asking, can Harold get help from social services till he gets on his feet, or even going to his area representative for help with either a CPEP or URP job, for even if it's temporary? Harold, Annette wanted to know if you tried social services.
No, I didn't go to social services. I did. Sharon Felix did have me working with her at a time though.
Right.
For a short period, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Eden Thomas said no. No change in programming. So just we facilitating the political broadcast to come. So we on at this time, but from next Sunday, please God, we'll go back to normal. Beverly Morrison said agreed with that, but deceased Mr. Gavin Cole have written many proposals, many articles, and other documents that would have allowed for networking and stages of recovery from entry to re-entry. I remember Gavin did some extensive work with that.
Of course, and remember that we attended different conferences where we say any part where government putting out money, given a stipend or whatever it is the government putting out in any rehab center, all of us supposed to be on one page. Everybody's supposed to be on one page. Up to now, that never come true.
Beverly said there is no one on the streets who could tell you you're not cool, stop trying stuff, leave substances alone, else you will be doubting yourself. Bev is out there in Brooklyn. There's a certain spiritual connection between mother and son and father and daughter. There must be a willingness for each to be involved. And that is so true. And Wilshire said, never heard that saying before. On like boiled corn, nice. Okay. Fiola said, young teenagers need to hear this story every month. Good afternoon, locked on. Okay, let's go through the pictures. Folks, let me show you the pictures that we have lined up for you, starting with the simple one, alcohol. And good afternoon, Anna. Good afternoon, Helen. Fiola, good afternoon.
This is how Harold got his start with a drink of beer. And I specifically use those two brands because those are the local brands that we have. And also to make the point that, Carib and Stag, right? To also make the point that this is the legal drug that is familiar to everyone and is easy, as it happened with you and many others, to introduce to children.
Yes. So we're showing you the drugs. And again, folks, some people hate to hear it, but alcohol is a drug.
Yep.
A drug is a mood or mind altering substance. And I'm noticing something of late, and we need to dwell on that at some point. But every time people go to a party and they get in an argument, it must end in blood or death. And once alcohol is involved, it escalates 10 times faster. And we are yet to admit that, we are yet to look at that. But why I think people losing their minds with the lockdown? Bar owners don't care. They want people to come and drink. Why? Because they make money from it. And as I said, a bar owner and a crack pusher doing the same thing. Correct. It's just that one legal and one illegal, whether they like to hear it or not. The other image you see here is, of course, the ganja, the marijuana, which was decriminalized recently. And there's a roach clip on the top right-hand corner. Top right-hand corner. That's called a roach clip. It looks like a small scissors.
And also, this is to remind you that for those of you who don't know, it's not the familiar leaf that you see. That is not what people use to smoke. It is actually the flower, the bud, as they call it, which is processed, sometimes ground up and smoked.
And there's the Kush now, Harold. There's another strong weed that almost operating like cocaine.
And here, they say when you Google and they see what is Kush and what it is made of, nobody want to know that. I just tell the youths on them, right? You smoking Kush, right? You just feel hungry when it's done smoke it. No, you want the next one after that. And civil bread, it has cocaine in that. You understand? Anytime you're using something where you're not feeling to eat,
there's a stimulant.
There's cocaine in it. There's a stimulant.
There's a stimulant in it, yes. The next image will be the cocaine powder. And this is what you need to know the difference between this and the crack cocaine. Yep. So this is the cocaine powder that is snorted. And you can also take this, and of course, with the different chemical process, you could make the crack from this.
Yeah.
Which was discovered recently, and now you have, this is the crack, the image now of freebasing, and what you have on the bottom right hand corner is a crack pipe. You heard Harold speak about the foil.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and you'll see that's the bottle that's fashioned into a smoking device. Then
the bottle and the mesh wire.
Right. And then you can almost take anything and turn it into a crack smoking device. That the image on the top is a syringe that was fashioned into a crack pipe. In the middle, of course, what you see with the crack rocks. Now, the crack rock you're seeing in the middle and the one on the table, you see the different colors. This is what it have graduated to. Back then, when we were using crack, it was a creamish color.
Yeah.
Now it's a pure white color.
Yes.
Which indicates the level of chemical.
This indicates the amount of chemical transformation that it has gone through. And even drug addicts now today will tell you, boss, what they're selling now is real stupidness, you know.
Yeah.
So people getting more hooked on chemicals than anything else, than the cocaine itself. And of course,
that is damaging your brain. I mean, cocaine is already hazardous to your brain, we know, but the addition of synthetic substances like all of the other additives that are used, harsh chemicals, is very damaging to your brain and your body.
Right. Now look at this image here now. And this here, it looks harmless if you see it on a sheet of paper. And Natasha, want to explain this one?
This is LSD. This is how LSD or acid is consumed. What it is a liquid that is placed on a piece of paper that will melt when you put it on your tongue. So this is how it is delivered to the body. Sometimes it's injected or ingested orally, but most frequently, in order to disguise it, I suppose, it is placed on a piece of paper that melts, and you just put that on your tongue and sends you on a trip.
LSD?
This is a psychedelic substance.
Yes, and ecstasy.
Yeah,
yes, Harold?
Yeah, I want to say this before I forget, right? For the listening public. Some people will say, well, why smoke already and I never get addicted? Why drink already and this never happened to me? I want to let people know every human being has different fingerprints, means the DNA in everybody is different. Your taste bud is different than my taste bud. You will taste something for the first time, I don't like it. I will taste it and I will like it. So people need to understand our body, the chemistry in our body. It is made up different. This is why some people get addicted, some people don't, and it have the other factors to go with it.
Right.
Yeah,
so these ecstasy pills now.
Yes, ecstasy pills, and this has become all the rage in Trinidad and Tobago.
We call Zessa pills.
And yes, and the ecstasy is what we're calling Zessa pills is allegedly ecstasy mixed with cocaine in pill form. So you pop these pills when you want to, stay up all night, dance all night, lime all night, drink all night. And of course, alcohol on top of this is quite dangerous. It dehydrates you, and it is it's a
imagine your blood pressure and your temperature trying to regulate itself, and it's when you take these stuff. And it's a rage. There are people actually selling these now. These are on our university campuses. Whether you like to hear it or not, is the truth. These are, because you see police, well, now it has become illegal to import them and all of these things. But if police stop people with this, and police not aware what these pills are, they will just think these are harmless pills, Skittles, or there were those pills you can
gummy, well, not gummies, but yeah,
it had a sourish kind of taste.
Yeah.
Right. It looks like those. It looks harmless. If you see this in your child's bag, you will think, well, this is mommy, I get that in school, they get that in the cafeteria.
No,
not knowing these are
very powerful
stimulants. So this is what they look like. And of course, as we continue on our independency, we'll be showing you more of these images as we go along. You could do a run again. In the meantime, we could take some calls for Harold, and at 622-3937, The 12-step program is the first step is we admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Second step, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. The third step made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God.
The care of God as we understand
it.
Yeah.
The fourth step, we made a searching.
That's a big one.
Yeah, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves.
Inventory of yourselves.
Right. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all those defects of character. 7, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, and which is very important to all, made a list of all the persons we have
harmed and became willing
to make amends
to them
all.
Except when to do so will bring harm to either them or yourself, because you don't know who you're making amends to. If the person is ready to take that, that's what to take the look is you do that then.
Right. Let's take our first call for you, Harold.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
God, Natasha, Harold. I'm really touched by Harold's testimony and his utterances. I could relate to a lot of things that Harold said. But most of all, the fact that from the very beginning of his discourse, he paid a lot of attention to God. The higher powers they refer to in the program, right? And with that acknowledgement, I believe that is what helped him through, because the scripture tells us that in all of your ways, acknowledge God, and He would direct your path.
Yes.
Right? So, I must say kudos to you, Harold. Right? And I want to really encourage you, because as you say, what you are experiencing now with your private life, cooking is worse than that. It's so true. Right?
Yes.
And so you have survived. I'm not sure if survive is the right word, but you have come through that experience. Okay, so what other things will follow? By God's grace, you will be able to overcome. Stand firm, stay strong.
Thank you very much, sir.
My brother. God has brought you this far, and He will take you through to here.
All right.
Natasha, please.
Thanks a lot.
Blessings on you all that you continue to work. I trust that I too will be able to share, my story at some point in time.
Okay, so thank you very much to you.
Yeah, God bless.
Step 9, made direct amends to such people wherever.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So hold on 1 second, right? Let me just run this quickly. Step 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Good afternoon, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. This morning I tuned into I-95 and I heard this program was advertising. So I really didn't. It's only about half an hour now I looked in, right? Now, I am a member of the Alcoholics Anonymous, and I am an alcoholic. And well, we anonymity and all of that. Now nobody knows who I am. I wouldn't mention the name. But you see the steps, the 12 steps, the 12 steps and the 12 traditions are what the addicts supposed to live by. Now, listen, I could identify with the person who you're speaking to, because I had no hope, none, absolutely none. In fact, when you look at it through the human's eye, I supposed to be dead in the most literal sense.
Right.
And I came, the same steps, all of that. As long as you admit you have a problem and you want help, you have to have that desire. If you don't have that, you're spinning top in mud. You have to have that will to stop. And listen, the members stood by me. They carry me meetings. They kind of, it is a place I really, really blessed with. And as long as you're in that environment, you will get sober. I had no hope, sir. In over 2 years, I got back my job. I am an exceptional worker. The first time in my life I saved so much money. And listen, I lost every single thing. I walk into AA with 2 suits of clothes which wasn't mine.
Well, I want to find out something before you go, right? Okay. Before we run out of time, and I want to run out of time. We noticed something now. Is the alcohol different now than long ago? Or is the same alcohol that...
It is the same alcohol. Alcohol is a drug. That is the point you have to be making.
No, I know. But
legal.
What I noticed, though, that some of the alcoholics that we came across recently, they almost have the same traits as crack addicts. They need extra money.
They are. The same steps that you follow with the cocaine addict is the same step they using. NA uses the same step. They just change the addict.
Understood.
Instead of alcoholic.
All right, so but thank you very much for sharing your testimony.
I know. One more thing I want to say. I was a vagrant for 2.5 months in San Fernando, sleeping on cardboard.
Right.
In Bayram stage.
Bayram, yes.
Right, and I could say if you, as long as you have that desire, it have hope. I thought it didn't have hope. It have hope. And the only thing they ask you to do every day, sobriety free. The only thing they ask you to do is carry the message. That is all you have to do.
Carry the
and
message.
You see that when God bless you, listen to me, it had to take God for me to come out of that. Nobody else. God has sent no angel. He has sent no messenger. God alone did that. God himself came and saved me.
So you mind getting in touch? You mind giving me a call?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I'll call my number, get a pen, and you write it down. You put it in your phone, right? But thank you very much for calling, and give me a call later on.
I didn't hear that.
Could you? I'll call my number when you hang up, so you can write it down.
Okay, sure.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Thank you for sharing with us. Continue to sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, pleasant afternoon, God.
Good afternoon.
This is your boy Sean Smart here.
Hey, what's happening, hey, Smart? You're back in the land of the living.
Yeah, I was outside there, come out and everything. I've spent 14 years in the prison, as you would know.
Yes.
I used to be up there doing lectures and that kind of thing. And I want to encourage the gentleman there that whatever you're going through in life, God is the answer to everything. God is the answer to everything, regardless of what family, whatever. God is the answer to everything. And keep motivated. I was never on drugs. I never took drugs. I never participate in those things. I don't even drink alcohol. So I wouldn't really know the experience of that. But I want to encourage you that God is the answer to everything. And God, you stay strong with your program and you're doing well.
Thank you, Sean.
Better than when he was in the Defense Force.
Nice to hear from you, man. Nice to hear from you. Take care, Sean. I'll keep in touch. All right, so the caller, the number is 756-6337. That's 756-6337. And you know, the lady I was speaking to, she said her son even resorted to drinking rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, because as I was saying, I mean, we were discussing how low an alcoholic can go. I mean, we know that they are functioning alcoholics. They're functioning addicts as well. But as the gentleman was saying, I mean, he was on the street, Bayram stage. So, I mean, alcohol can debilitate you to that extent, to the same extent as you would see a crack addict.
Right, and the final step is having had a spiritual awakening. As a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and addicts and drug addicts to practice these principles in all our affairs. Hello, good afternoon.
President, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Neil Antoine Scrappy.
Scrappy, one of the famous names that came out during the 1970 review and series. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. And I mean, I told you I want to get a course from Larry and Mr. Pinal how to get one. All right? But I mean, I listened to this story again, guys. And I mean, it's really, really, really good that this gentleman could come out and speak about it. But, you know, when listening to him, right, it reminded me of 30 years ago, all right, when we worked together. And what we know now because of you,
yes,
we did not know then.
Yeah.
All right. So, when I do some introspection, if we could have done anything else, we really could not have done anything. All right. So what I want to say to you, God, that 30 years ago, what happened, I don't want you to look at it as it happened to you.
And this is the regiment you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at it as it happened for you. Because what you and your beautiful wife have been doing over the years, you've touched the lives of so many people, God. So I want to thank you for what you're doing and what you continue to do. Yeah?
Scrappy, you know, I'm not saying this publicly for nothing. You're one of the men who saw me grow up on the base, and you were one of the senior men. And, for you to hear you say that now, we've always had respect for you, and that respect is maintained. And I want to thank you so much for saying that this afternoon. I really appreciate that, Scrappy. Thank you so much.
So as I go, because I know you have limited time, I just want to say this, all right? And remember this, you and your wife. When an egg is broken from the outside, life ends. When an egg is broken from the inside, life begins. And what you did, you came out of your shell and you spread your wing. So I just want to call God's richest blessings upon you, God, you and your wife, for him to continue to pour his anointing over you, and you continue doing your good work. God bless you, man.
Thank you, Harry Scrappy. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you too.
All right, my brother.
Yeah, man. That was Neil Scrappy Antoine. For those of you in the military, you would know that name, and retired warrant officer, class 1. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Garth and Natasha.
Hey, good afternoon, family. How you doing?
I good locked on as usual. Well, before I talk to the gentleman, you got you have a master song there. Before I will forget to compliment you. It's a nice music and nice lyrics. Who you remind me of? You sing there in your song like Late Maestro.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good. Nice music, nice lyrics. And your voice improved, over the years.
Yes.
After all. That and another thing in the conversation is I heard him talk, and it hurt my heart to hear what happening to his mother now.
Yeah.
What should happen because somebody didn't forgive. People have to forgive. You won't forget, but you have to forgive. And for his wife, if she doesn't forgive, she would not be able to heal.
Correct.
So she has to heal herself before she allow, the mother to heal. So I'm begging for God to talk to her and inspire her that she will get a healing, that she could overcome that with the mother, and then that healing will take place.
Yes.
And for, what's the name of the gentleman?
Harold.
Harold,
Yes.
you stay strong, and you still, regardless of whatever it is, God will open a way for you, and He will show you, from the way you talk. You don't talk like somebody that went and lose their mind, You're very well together with your brains. So it's very much intact and eat out no part of your brain. So you just stay focused, deal with it and talk to the right people. Try and get a steady job, and all will be well. All will be well. And I'm praying for that healing. I would ask God to help you and your wife to pray together with your mother and heal the situation home. Because I hear in your voice that is the main problem that bothering you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And good program, Garth and Natasha, as usual.
All right, family.
Right, good.
Take care. Yes, Harold, you were saying?
I live in the house with this woman. She in one room, I sleep in the next room. It's nearly over. It's going in 3 years now. I never had sex.
Yeah, that bad. I don't like that either. Natasha's can't go and sleep if we have an argument. I'm not playing that. I'm not living in house with nobody. And no, I'm not going through that. According to the saying, passing each other like Brighton bucket. Not me, I'm going through that.
I tell you, boy.
Let's see, let's take another call. Good afternoon. I want to say condolences to Sam Major Modest Barbell.
Yes.
You know, and the passing of his wife, you know, and we send some love to you and the family. And of course, John Job. I haven't spoken to his wife as yet, but
he passed away this week.
yes,
Born here as well.
John Job as well.
The hero, one of the heroes of the post 1970.
Yes. So you know we'll have to play his
Mutiny.
his contribution again.
We will.
So, all right. Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Hello. Good afternoon, God.
Good evening, sir.
Harold.
Good afternoon.
Nice to hear you. A member from One Day at a Time group.
Okay.
Not responsible for disease, but responsible for recovery. I always say we are the great responsibility through your inability to accept personal recovery. You're actually creating your own problem, because as they tell me, every pot has to sit on its own bottom. And one of the principles is responsibility.
Yes.
Because you could do the steps, you could have a sponsor, and you're not responsible. Your sponsor could only assist you, but you have to be responsible. The responsibility relies on us. We as recovering addicts. Only one addict can best understand and help another addict. It is called parallel. It's a therapeutic value. I love the program. I love to hear how your brother going through, how our brother going through. Boy, you know, one of the greatest problems, and recovery nice, you know, but boy, things that never happened to you when you was using recover happen to you right now.
Yeah.
Pressure.
To go. Thank you very much, caller, but we have to go now, right?
Yeah, boy. Real pressure, boy.
I know. But we will continue the discussion next Sunday, please, God, because we have another video to play for you that we didn't get a chance to play called Child Addiction and Child Trauma. And we'll share that with you next. It's a very powerful video, and it gives an example of, you know, how people can get involved in addiction. Harold, closing remarks quickly. Thank you very much for giving your testimony this afternoon into evening. Your final word.
Well, for those who have listened, I pray that the message has gone out to who's supposed to get the message, you know. And for those who have this program on air, God, I hope they will continue to keep this program on air.
Yes.
You know, I hope God will continue to bless them with that wisdom, and I really wish I could do more. I would like to be more involved in, you know, because I want things that keep me clean is doing this work. That helps to keep me clean, you know.
Well,
so I would like to get involved in doing some more.
Well, we'll have you involved, Harold. Don't worry. This year is your year.
All right.
All right. So thank you very much, my brother. Stay strong.
Take care.
Take care, and we'll keep in touch.
Okay, Natasha.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
And again, as he said, you know, Minister of National Security, Ms. Alana Wheeler, Corner Trafficking Unit, with Donna Peters Hayde at Agricola. God bless you all. And again, we're going to be approaching 20 years. And it's been a long time we've been doing this. And we started with Jomoke, and we went to Orlando. And there's a whole crew. Roger Lee and and then Kerr end up in the mix. We're back with Kerr next Sunday, please God, folks. So Jomoke, always a pleasure, you know that. Yes, good vibe, good spirit. All right, we'll try. Folks, that's where we have to leave it. God bless you all. We have the Anglican hour coming up next. And again, please, COVID is still with us, and despite the cry to have a good time and party and have fun, COVID's still with us. Remember that.
Correct.
Take care, folks. Kerr is going to relieve Jomoke and take you all up the road. Take care. Have a good week.
Good night.
Good night.
Sons and daughters, this one is for you. Hindsight is 20/20 vision. Thank God I've been set free. Now that I'm in a clean position, I want to help somebody, because somebody crying, somebody dying, some other poor soul rolling on the floor. Some homes are drifting, Because somebody piping a cocaine rock that leads them to death's door. Dope is death and destruction, I come to underscore. For all the pain I put you through and all them senseless things I do, mother, I'm sorry, so sorry. Although I robbed you to buy crack, you never ever turn your back. You stood right by me, right by me. So if I never hug you, I'll tell you thanks. Well, this calypso is the medium I used to say, Frank, how much I love you. I pray that my testimony will be the bridge across which some cocaine addict will do like me and make a clean switch. I am my brother's keeper. Tell the world I am my brother's keeper.